Yes, and as soon as you go, Evans, it's all you. I'm going to go dark. I'll be here watching you, listening to you, and there will be a test at the end. So pay attention.
Will do. Thank you, Stephen. All right. Hello, everybody. I hope this finds you well from wherever and whenever you're tuning in. My name is Dr. Evans Kamuru, and I am a speaker, author, and coach who empowers individuals and organizations to lead with disability. And I know that's a little bit of a paradox because leading and disability don't typically go hand in hand. Well, you see, I was born with a physical handicap. And by the grace of God, I've been able not only to transcend the physical limitation, if you will, but also I've been able to embrace my disability and find my unfair advantage that is the result of having the handicap. Well, and what I've come to find, my friend, is that we all have a handicap of sorts, physical, non-physical, seen, unseen, that challenge, that limitation, if you will, that prevents us from becoming our authentic, powerful, present, and purposeful self. And so I'm just a man that's on a mission, number one, to shatter all the glass ceilings in my own life and also empower others to do the same. Well, allow me to tell you a little bit of my story. So as you can see, I do have an American flag here because I am based out of Kansas City, Kansas, in the great United States of America. But I'm originally from Kenya, East Africa. I'm actually rocking the colors of the Kenyan flag in my attire. And I was born in Kenya, East Africa, without my right hand and also without my right foot. And I was born at a time when culture and society, by and large, did not look very kindly at people born with physical handicaps. The superstition of the day held that if a child was born with a physical handicap, it was a curse. Somebody must have done something wrong. Worst case scenario, kids like me were thrown away and abandoned to die. Better case scenario, hidden and ostracized away from the society. And best case scenario, relegated to a life of poverty and begging. You know, those pictures of the crippled people that you see begging for alms in the street. But even though I found myself in a harsh, cold, and unwelcoming environment, by the grace of God, I landed in the hands of Julius and Eunice Kamuru. My mom tells me that the first time my dad held me in his hands, he looked down at me, smiled, and said, "What a handsome little boy." Now, I share that story, number one, to sensitize you that that was my first encounter with a real, genuine smile. Yes, I know I was only a few minutes old in the world, but I believe that somehow at a subconscious level, I received that. Number two, also to sensitize you to the kind of life-giving, loving, and positive people that my mom and dad are. They never treated me any differently than my brothers. They provided whatever it is that I need. They encouraged me to become the best that I could be. And it's because of their nurture and I guess nature that they passed on to me that I just learned and I grew up to become a confident, and independent young man. I think now that I look back, they taught me to smile at life. To smile at life. And I want to maybe just talk to you a little bit about how do you smile at life when you have a handicap? How do you smile at life when there's trauma and pain as we all experience? How do you smile at life when there are storms? Well, three ideas I want to leave you with here today. Number one, my parents taught me to be grateful, to find the good in life, to think about life from a perspective of abundance. You know, I think of gratitude as that thing that allows you to see the good that's already present in your life. It's kind of like when you buy a new car, say a Toyota, all of a sudden you start seeing Toyotas around you. It's not that they fall out of thin air, it's just that you're more aware of them now that you own one. Gratitude is the same way, it just sensitizes you to the good that's already present in your life. Number two, my parents taught me how to smile at life, and as such, I was able to find, if you will, the silver lining in the cloud. What I like to call my compensatory advantage. Because I grew up as a left handed man, one handed left handed guy in a two-handed right handed world, I became a creative problem solver. I'm always trying to find different ways to do the same things that you, maybe who is right handed and has two hands, would do. Creative problem solving is a skill that has helped me tremendously all my life. And my friend, I want to suggest, that thing that maybe you think is a disadvantage, is a handicap, is a pain. If you look at it with different eyes, chances are, in the words of Napoleon Hill, who says that for every hardship, there is an equal opportunity, there is an equal advantage. You can also find compensatory advantages, if you will, in that thing in your life that looks like a storm. And finally, learning how to smile at life or at my storm give me a can-do attitude. Like when I see a problem, I'm not thinking of why I cannot do something. I'm always thinking of how. How can I figure it out? And I want to suggest to you, my friend, that when you come at life with that same kind of positive outlook, gratitude, if you will be able to overcome what may appear as insurmountable obstacles. And so I've learned to smile at life, and I like to spread smiles to others by communicating thoughts, communicating ideas that empower people to also learn that no matter what your start is, no matter what limitations it is that you have in your life, you can transcend them and you can embrace them so that you can also lead with disability. And as I conclude, my friend, allow me just to let you know about my first book that I authored, Created for Love, Four Master Keys to a Life of Purpose and Fulfillment. And in this book, I cover the four core relationships, or what I consider are core relationships. I talk about how to have a loving relationship with God, coming from a Christian perspective. Number two, how to have a loving relationship with yourself, with others, and with your life and the amazing purpose that you have in life. So you can get yourself a copy at Amazon or at evanskamuru.com. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. And Ken and team, Steve, thank you so much for
No,
having me.
Evan, stay on. I got permission to talk with you a little bit more because I want to dig into this theory that you have a handicap. So you call it a handicap, but you turned it into a positive. Stephen Hawkins did the same thing. Um,
Mm,
ADHD, that's a
mm,
handicap. I You can give me a set three, just three instructions out loud verbally, and I'm lost because that is not my learning skill. That's a handicap. Visual kinetic, I'm a master at. But if you start talking to me
mm.
and say, Steve, I need you to do X, Y, Z, no, I'm like, can we write this down? Uh,
Wow,
so
interesting.
uh, this is very motivational because people don't see, people look, maybe some people do, some people don't, and that doesn't matter if you had a visible handicap or not. People are going to hate you and people are going to love you. So the people that hate you, my Dr. Beth, hopefully we're going to have her on after 10, says that if you hate somebody, it's because you fear something inside you.
Mm,
So
okay.
think about that. So
Mm,
if somebody hates you because you have a handicap, then they're scared, basically, fearful. Hate comes from fear. They're fearful
mm,
that maybe they'll have it, and they are fearful for that because they
mm,
don't know what they would do. And now you've proven that you can be successful. So now the crux is on them, and it's like, well, if I fail, then I am a failure, and he didn't, and so I hate him for that is actually the thought process that goes on. And so
mm.
it's just interesting that you have a handicap and you had it all your life, so you don't know any different. It's not really a handicap to you. You learn to walk
No,
differently. You learn to write differently. You maybe you're left-handed instead of right-handed. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're right-handed. It doesn't matter. You had to do it, and that is focus and
mm,
action. You got focused, and maybe there was some cry time. That's okay. Everybody can cry. But
Yeah.
you were true to yourself and you said, okay, now my cry time. There was a point in time in your life and you said, cry time is over. What can we do? And apparently, and
Mm.
fortunately for you, you did have parents that were better than average, let's just say. Okay.
No,
Well,
incredible.
I'll crawfish a little bit on that. Back then, better than average. Okay.
Yes.
Nowadays,
Yes.
there's because of all of the, autism and all kinds of stuff, it's more
Yes.
commonplace. But back then, yeah, it was totally taboo. I understand there are tribes, cultures in Australia that if a baby was like that, they leave it at the fire and it dies. I mean, that's
Yes.
just what they do. And right
Mm.
or wrong, I'm not going to judge on that. I'm just going to say that that yes, you have shown, and so this is cool. You should sell disability insurance. Think about it. Somebody says, you would be the closer. Like I would be selling disability insurance, and somebody says, I don't need it. Evans, come in here. You come in and you go, are you sure? Sign me up.
Look what it's done
100%
for
close
me.
ratio right there, my friend. 100% close ratio.
Hey, Steve. I don't know whether you've ever heard of these. One guy said that the disability group is the one group that anybody can join at any point.
What now?
The disability community is the community that any one of us could join at any one point in time.
True. It's true. We're all
But but
disabled.
yet, but yet it can be discriminated upon. Any one of
Well,
us, anything can happen to.
because and this is the problem because I can never judge your pain against my pain, or
Mm,
your disability against my disability. It's unique for each one. We all have virtual headsets on, and you cannot see. I can't see what you're seeing right now. You can't see what I'm seeing. Even if we were born exactly at the same time, it's going to be slightly different. And we're the virtual headset. I'm going to turn left. You're going to look right. You're going to look up and down. You're going to get
mm,
fed first. Whatever, right? So we're all in a virtual headset, and we cannot judge each other's pain. We can acknowledge
mm,
it. We can see
mm,
it. We can learn from it, which is what I think is the biggest gift for you is people learn from that. Because I mean, heck, I mean, I've defeated myself before thinking I can't. And by the way, when you say you
mm.
can't, just put the word yet at the end. I can't remember what the other
Yes.
person said. Uh, but anyway, it was another brilliant one. But yeah, it's ADHD. So one word is easy for me to remember, right? So I can't do that
Mm,
yet, right? So
mm.
so yeah, man. So why do you think, I want to go a little bit deeper. Why do
Yes.
you think your parents were like that? I mean, we know they were like that, but where do you think they got those values from? That's the question.
Wow. And that's a great question. You know, both my parents are positive, they are warm, they are optimistic, and they're like people. They make you feel comfortable instantly. And quite honestly, I don't know. Because even when I look at the rest of their family members, I wouldn't necessarily say it runs across the family. That said, they're strong believers as far as the Christian faith goes. So maybe I want to suggest that some comes from there. But quite honestly, I can't quite point a finger. They're just
That's
unicorns
something
of
you
sorts.
should investigate. I wish I could have found out. My grandpa on my stepmom's side changed my life forever, and I have no idea where he got this idea of everybody's equal. And there's
Mm,
another story we won't get into, but uh, I
mm,
wish I could ask him. I didn't find out until his funeral how influential he was
mm,
towards me until the funeral, and they told his story, which I won't get into. But that would be a great story for you to find out the butterfly effect. Where did that person get it, and where did that person get it? And
yeah,
we had
take it all the
we
way
have
back.
another person that's coming in anytime now. You can bring her in. I was just killing time until uh,
Yeah,
I was going to talk for another 30 minutes because this interests me. Disability, the thought of that is it's it's is it a disability? Really? Is it?
it's all in perspective.
Exactly. Exactly.
All in perspective.
Yeah. So yeah. what happened to our, um, but it's okay. We'll just still, let's still talk. And so,
Yeah,
so yeah, so
yeah,
that's the question, the butterfly effect, right? So
yeah,
they said, they may say, maybe it was some stranger. See, we never know the butterfly effect. Maybe some stranger came in and said, hey, someday you're going to have kids, and this XYZ is what you're really going to be thinking about. And for what they were in the right frame or the right mood, and whatever
yeah.
reason, they took it to heart, and that made it. But then you have to ask, where did that stranger get it, right?
You know,
We
you
don't
just piqued my curiosity because both my parents are alive, and that's a question I'm going to ask them tomorrow. And be like, hey, I've noticed that even in your own family, and they came from a time where big families, like my mom has 10 siblings, my dad about the same. But when I look at the rest of their family, not quite the same. So that's a very good question to ask them. Where did you all get it from? And to your point, try and see if I can trace it back.
know. I would be, and you know what? Remember the books that you can write about all of this stuff, right? Okay, so this is a story that I would love to hear. I would love to hear the story of how somebody well, they
Mm,
changed the world because they
mm,
loved you and let you become who you are. And if you hadn't, think about
mm,
all of the people that would not have been affected or changed. And
mm.
that's another butterfly effect. I always talk about the butterfly effect in a positive, but that's a negative.
Yes,
The butterfly effect can be negative too, right? So
true.
yeah, man.
Mm, mm. Yeah, no, yeah. Now you got me really curious about just tracing that back. I did. I did get one of these books. I don't know if you've seen these on Facebook. Dad, Mom, tell me your story. And so this is actually my copy, and I want to basically write it for my kids. But I sent a copy for my dad and my mom, and it has just a bunch of questions asking where they grew up, what their experiences were, and so to your point, that's something that I want to dig into as well. Where did you all get these contagious, positive,
They were
life-giving
ahead of their
spirit? And
time.
it's
They were
yeah,
way ahead of their time, and how does that happen, right? How does that happen?
right.
That's that 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 is
Mm,
that is always the question. I know where I got it from, but I don't know where my grandpa got it from. And here's the thing: it was on my stepmom's side. So if my dad hadn't got remarried to her,
huh,
and then I had him, I would not. I mean, maybe I would, but I definitely wouldn't. It wouldn't have been. My parents always taught me to treat people to people that treat you well. Then that's how you judge somebody.
mm,
You don't judge it by skin color, race, creed, religion, whatever.
mm,
It's how they
yeah.
treat you. That's how you judge somebody. And I've always had that. I've always had that. And so it's interesting that you came down this road. But I'll challenge you: is it a handicap? And
No, no,
a bad handicap, right? No, it's not,
it
because
is a
you've made it
blessing.
a good thing. So I
It is
mean,
a
yeah,
blessing,
we're
and I
missing
only
out on it, but we're all missing out on Richard Branson's island that he owns, or we're not on Oprah Winfrey's show yet. But I mean, so we're all missing out on something. Where do you want to draw the? How do you want to draw the line? Where do you want to whine at, right? And get
hey,
some cheese.
yeah, you talked about the butterfly effect. I actually talk about it a little bit in my book, basically coming from the idea that everything, everything is connected, everything has purpose. And so when you think about it, it's not really a handicap. It's a blessing because it's working towards a certain purpose. Sometimes we may not always see it in the present. Sometimes it's in hindsight that we're like, okay, I see how the dots connect. I believe we won't get the full picture on this side of life. Some of it's coming from a Christian perspective, just in the next phase that we'll be like, okay, now I see. And sometimes what we think is a handicap, or what is our greatest pain, within that is tied our greatest points of power and purpose, typically.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
truth. Yeah, we
Yeah.
in martial arts, you you fight, you protect what you feel is the most danger, most that will get you beat. It's a defense.
Mm,
Defense.
mm,
It's not self offense. I mean, now we
huh,
attack. but we attack because we don't want our defense to get beaten. But here's the funny thing. When you attack, you're open because it's
Uh,
self-defense, right? It's the counter,
right.
right? So it's a catch 22. Which do you do? I remember I lost a match because I was winning and I went on defense. But I remember also matches where I was winning and then I did the exact opposite. I went on offense and I got caught.
Huh.
So so your handicaps where you're
Yeah.
at, you you use it here but not there, right? I mean, there's it's like where do I call this handicap? What do I how do I use this handicap? How do I not use this handicap? How do I rely on this handicap? How do I not rely on this handicap? There's so many
Yeah.
little levels in there for that. It's great, and I again I would challenge the fact. Um, I'm ready whenever you guys are. We're just talking. I've
Yeah.
been ready for Angelita since she came
We're
on.
just connecting.
But if you give me time, if you keep giving me time, Evans and I'll be here till 10:30. Nobody else will get on. So you better bring her in. This has been a pleasure, though. Really has. I think we're winding up. I see the direct message for me now. Our next guest is
Okay.
ready when you are. So I'm always ready, but I'm also ready to take it to the next level too. So, and you are
Mm.
too, my friend.
Yes, sir. And it was a pleasure connecting with you. I'd love to stay in touch.
Absolutely. Um, TMV Stephen Beaver. Any social media, but do LinkedIn because I check LinkedIn the most. I don't check anything else. TikTok,
Okay.
Facebook, whatever that. So, but
Okay.
and then we'll
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 reach
hook up, my friend. Angelita
out.
Hello.
Evans, talk to you later, my friend.